Hi everyone, my name is Alex and welcome to the third episode of Eagle Spirit Science Futures, where science doesn't just apply to the classroom. In this episode, we're going to explore light, color, and how we see the world around us. Stories are how we connect ourselves to the world and landscape around us. Our ancestors had a relationship with their environment, and the stories that have been passed on to us give us a glimpse into the traditional lives and values that they once lived. Although each of our peoples have a different language, set of traditions, and even stories, we share the fact that all of our ancestors looked to the skies above them for meaning. Whether it is the sun and moon, northern lights, lightning, stars, or other cosmic beings, many nations have these figures present within their stories. As a Mi'kmaq myself, I can think of many examples where visible light was integrated into my culture. In our creation story, we refer to the sun as Niskam, our grandfather. It is he who brings light into the world, but also shadows, and this is where our ancestors and spirits watch over us. The first of our people, Gruskap, was brought to life by 3 bolts of lightning. Another story that I grew up with was that of the Invisible One. The story tells of an invisible being whose bow strap was a rainbow, and bowstring the Milky Way. When we look up to the skies today, we can see these very phenomena that our ancestors laid their eyes on once as well. As beautiful as these sights are, we would not be able to understand them like we do if we couldn't see them for ourselves. The act of seeing involves a number of different processes, some of which we will be looking at in this video. Before we get into today's experiment, we're going to learn a little bit about how we perceive the world around us. Today, we are joined by Brainreach North, who are going to talk to us about color perception. Brainreach North is an online science education resource made up of neuroscience students at McGill University.
Thank you, Alex. I'm Malusri and I'm a volunteer with Brainreach North. Together, we are going to learn about light and visible colors. Have you ever wondered how we are able to see all the colors in the world? Different light waves make different visible colors, and we can see these colors because of the neuroscience of color perception. What do you think is important in your body to be able to see? The eyes. We know they capture visual information like colors and shapes. Then we need the brain to figure out what these shapes and colors mean. Let's take a closer look. In your eyes, there are specialized cells called receptors that detect light. There are 2 kinds of visual receptors, the rods that we mostly use to see at night and the cones that detect the colors. As you are learning today, in white light or sunlight, all the different colors or waves of light are present together. We actually have 3 types of cones that detect either green, red, or blue light. Of course, we see way more than 3 colors. This is because a different mix of the 3 types of cones will respond to different colors. For example, when purple light comes into your eyes, a mixture of red and blue cones activate to let you see purple. When the visual receptors activate, they emit electrical signals. These electrical signals will travel to the brain so that the brain can figure out what they mean. But how do these electrical signals get from the eyes to the brain? In between the eyes and the brain, there are neurons that make up the optic nerve. These neurons send the electrical signals from your eyes to the part of the brain that can process them. This part of the brain is called the visual cortex. The visual cortex processes and makes sense of the signals from the eyes and allows us to perceive different colors. When you put all of this together, that is how we are able to see the world around us. Let's get back to Alex, who is going to guide you through today's experiment.
Thanks for that lesson. We're now ready to move on to our experiments. Today, we're going to be observing some phenomena all centered around white light and color. These past few episodes have been pretty heavy with calculations and data, so we wanted to take a more relaxed approach this time around. Here's what you're going to need in today's two labs. You're going to need a box cutter or a pair of scissors, a ruler or measuring stick, a glue gun, tack glue also works in this, a set of skewers, a blank piece of paper and a piece of cardboard. You're also going to need 7 colors. Specifically what you're looking for is a light blue, dark blue, purple, a red, yellow, orange, and finally a green. These can be crayons. You're going to need also a clear plastic bowl, some sticky tack, a small mirror like a makeup mirror, and finally a source of light. In this first experiment, we're going to be making a Newton wheel, or what's also called as a disappearing color wheel. First step you're going to do is you're going to take your piece of paper, and using the bowl or something round, you're going to trace out a circle and cut it out. Here I'm using the box cutter to do so. You're then going to do the same thing with a piece of cardboard, making sure that both the sizes are the same. Next thing we're doing is we're going to take a pen, find the middle point inside of our circle of paper, and we're going to trace a line through it. You're also going to measure out where the middle is on your circle. And from here what you're going to do is you're going to now divide it into 7 parts. It's hard to keep that evenly, so you're going to see that one of them is a bit large. Don't worry about that. Next thing we're doing here is we're going to align our colors out. So following the pattern that I'm doing here, we're going to take our 7 colors and we're going to fill in the sections in the circle. Take your time with this. Don't worry so much if you stay in between the lines. The effect should still be the same. Finally, we're going to take our piece of cardboard. You're going to put the adhesive on the back of it. And very quickly before it dries, you're going to add your color circle right on top of that glue. Once that's done, you're then going to take either a pair of scissors, or here I'm using a box cutter, and you're going to put a hole through the piece of cardboard and the piece of paper, making sure that the hole is fairly round as well, and that goes through both pieces. Once that's done, you're going to take a wooden skewer, and you're going to check to make sure that it fits nicely through, but also gives it enough space so that it could spin around. And here I'm just adding a dot of glue at the back of the skewer, just so it doesn't fall off. The next part of this experiment, once you've assembled it all together, is you're going to go ahead and spin it. And what you should be noticing is that all of the colors seem to mesh together, kind of creating an off-white or even a white color if you're spinning it well enough. Now the reason for this is our eye can't keep up with the rapid changing in color, and so we see them all at once, which kind of gives off this appearance as if it's white or gray, but once we stop spinning it, you see that the colors are there. This is kind of an optical illusion, if you will, but we're going to be doing the opposite now by making a light prism. In the previous experiment, we worked towards blending all of the colors together into white light, and now we're going to do the opposite. So what you're going to take is your big clear plastic bowl, and you're going to take that small mirror and keep it at a 45-degree angle upwards. From there, you're going to fill it with water, and you're going to put it into a dark room like I'm doing here. Make sure that the mirror that you're going to be shining the light into is facing towards the wall. From here, you're going to use either a flashlight, even a cell phone can work, and you're going to try to point it right at the mirror through the water. If you do this correctly, what you should be able to notice on the wall that you're illuminating onto is that the white light is going to be turning into a rainbow. When light travels in a straight line, we see it as white, or what some would even call clear. But what happens when the light bends is it's hitting the mirror, and when it comes out back towards the wall, it's refracted. And because it's bouncing, we see the separation of all of the colors. Pretty neat when you think about it. Try this out at night, or if you live in a house that has good blinds, or even a room without any windows, try it there. See what the effect looks like. See if you can get more colors than us. We were only able to really see 3, at most 4 of the colors. We tend to see rainbows after it rains, of course. And here we are making them inside of water. Something I'd like you to think about is, where else might you see a rainbow? Think outdoors. Take a look around. See if you can notice anything. For myself, storytelling has to be one of the most important aspects of my culture. I've always had fond memories of the times I've spent sitting down listening to an elder share their knowledge or hearing a new story for the first time. Deciding to leave my community to pursue my studies in science wasn't an easy choice to make, and while I love learning and talking about the topic, I had a hard time weaving together my scientific thinking with my traditional knowledge. But what I now realize is that even though the two stem from very different trains of thought, they both complement each other in very fulfilling ways. Now, whenever I am thinking of a science activity or experiment to do with students, I ask myself, how can I use science to tell the story that I want?